She's the reigning world champion, the woman who brought American sprinting back to life. But right now, Sha'Carri Richardson is fighting battles that no stopwatch can measure. An injury slowed her season. An airport arrest in July made global headlines. And as she steps onto the track in Tokyo, the question isn't just can she win, it's can she survive? Because across the lanes stands Julien Alfred, Olympic champion, rising star, the sprinter who already beat Sha'Carri once on the biggest stage of all. This is more than a race. It's a fight for reputation, redemption, and the right to be called the fastest woman in the world. And for Sha'Carri, the stakes have never been higher. Sha'Carri Richardson has never had it easy. Her entire career has been a storm. Dazzling speed on the track, constant headlines off it. Some athletes glide through fame. Sha'Carri fights her way through it, and 2025 has been no different. It started with an injury. Early in the season, she looked rusty. Her starts lacked explosiveness. Her times floated above 11 seconds. Slow by her standards. For a woman who built her reputation on top-end speed, every race looked like she was searching for rhythm that just wouldn't come. Then came July. An airport in Texas, a domestic dispute involving Christian Coleman, and suddenly, Sha'Carri's season wasn't just about recovery, it was about survival. The arrest wasn't for drugs this time, it wasn't a suspension, but the damage was done. Headlines exploded, social media erupted, and her name was dragged back into the storm she's tried so hard to outrun. For older fans who've watched generations of sprinters, it felt familiar. We've seen it before. Athletes who can't escape themselves, who burn so bright they risk burning out. But Sha'Carri is different, she always has been. Because for every stumble, she finds a way to stand back up. After the arrest, she went quiet, focused. She didn't chase cameras. She didn't clap back on Twitter. Instead, she leaned into healing. Reports out of her camp say the downtime may have been exactly what her body needed. Extra weeks to rest her legs, to rebuild confidence, to reset before Tokyo. But make no mistake, time off is a double-edged sword. Yes, her body healed, but every missed race means lost sharpness. Sprinting isn't just muscle, it's rhythm, timing, confidence. And when you've been away, even for a few weeks, that edge can fade. And while Sha'Carri was out, the world kept moving. Julien Alfred kept winning. Other sprinters kept sharpening their form. And Sha'Carri, she was left with questions swirling around her name. Is she healthy? Is she focused? Or has the storm finally caught up? For her fans, the answer doesn't come from her Instagram posts or training videos. It comes from the clock, from that 10-second barrier, from whether she can walk into Tokyo and look like the woman who conquered the world in 2023, or whether the noise, the pain, and the distractions finally break her stride. Because right now, Sha'Carri Richardson isn't just racing against rivals, she's racing against doubt. And that's the hardest opponent of all. While Sha'Carri Richardson has been battling headlines and setbacks, Julien Alfred has been building something very different: momentum. For the casual fan, Alfred might seem like a new name, but for those paying attention, her rise has been steady, powerful, and inevitable. She isn't a surprise anymore. She's the standard. Julien Alfred is from St. Lucia, a country of fewer than 200,000 people. She didn't grow up with the resources of a US sprinter or the fame of a Jamaican prodigy. She grew up with hunger, the kind that turns raw talent into relentless drive. That hunger took her to the University of Texas, where she became one of the NCAA's most decorated sprinters, and from there, she vaulted into the global spotlight. The breakout moment came in Paris 2024, the Olympic Games, the women's 100-meter final. All eyes were on Sha'Carri Richardson. It was supposed to be her night, her race, her redemption. But in just over 10 seconds, everything changed. Julien Alfred exploded out of the blocks. Her start was flawless, her drive phase relentless, and while Sha'Carri was still chasing top speed, Alfred was already gone. She crossed the line in 10.72 seconds, claiming gold for St. Lucia, the nation's first ever Olympic medal of any color. Sha'Carri finished second. That wasn't just a win, that was a revolution. For St. Lucia, for the Caribbean, for women's sprinting. And Alfred hasn't slowed since. In 2025, while Sha'Carri struggled with injuries and absence, Alfred put together a season of precision. She didn't need dramatics, she didn't need comebacks, she just needed consistency. Sub-11 after sub-11, podium after podium. Each race reinforcing the idea that Paris wasn't a fluke. It was a new order. What makes Alfred so dangerous is her balance. She doesn't have the raw top-end spectacle of Sha'Carri. She doesn't dominate headlines with fashion, drama, or controversy. But she doesn't need to. Her weapon is her reliability. In a sport where one bad start can cost everything, Alfred has built her empire on execution. That's why coaches and analysts talk about her with reverence. Her reaction times are among the sharpest in the world. Her drive face keeps her composed when others panic, and her mental game, calm, poised, unshaken, is her silent advantage. Because while Sha'Carri thrives in chaos, Alfred thrives in control. And right now, that control is winning. For older fans of the sport, Alfred represents something familiar, the quiet assassin. Think of athletes like Gail Devers or Evelyn Ashford. Women who didn't always dominate the spotlight but delivered when it counted most. Alfred's style is less fire, more precision, less noise, more dominance. But make no mistake, she's not just a technician, she's a competitor with teeth. Every time she lines up next to Sha'Carri, she knows the world is watching Richardson. And every time she beats her, that spotlight shifts a little more towards St. Lucia. The rivalry isn't just about who's faster, it's about who can handle the moment. And Alfred has proven she's ready for every moment. As the World Championships in Tokyo approach, the conversation isn't whether Alfred can contend, it's whether anyone can stop her. And that includes Sha'Carri Richardson. Because the truth is simple. While Sha'Carri has been chasing herself, Julien Alfred has been chasing history, and right now, she's winning both races. When Sha'Carri Richardson and Julien Alfred step into the blocks, it's more than a race. It's two philosophies colliding. Sha'Carri is chaos, Julien is control. And in sprinting, those opposites create fireworks. Sha'Carri is emotional. She wears everything on her face. The confidence, the anger, the triumph, the heartbreak. She thrives when the crowd is loud, when the pressure is suffocating, when doubters circle like vultures. It fuels her. Sometimes it overwhelms her. Her career has been defined by volatility. Meteoric highs, crushing lows, always public, always polarizing. Julien Alfred is the opposite. She's steady, calm, almost unshakable. She doesn't flinch at distractions. She doesn't need headlines. For Alfred, the race is the story, and that composure has become her silent weapon against Richardson. While Sha'Carri battles herself as much as her rivals, Alfred simply executes. That's what makes this rivalry so fascinating. It's not just speed versus speed, it's fire versus ice, drama versus discipline. A queen who demands the spotlight versus a challenger who lets the stopwatch do the talking. Every matchup between them feels like a chapter in a larger book. In Paris, Alfred had the upper hand. But in the Diamond League circuit, Sha'Carri has stolen wins when her start clicked. Their head-to-head record is still close enough that every race feels like a rubber match, a proving ground for who truly owns the 100 meters. Heading into Tokyo, the stakes couldn't be higher. Sha'Carri has the baggage, the injury, the arrest, the questions about her focus. Alfred has the momentum, the Olympic crown, the consistency, the quiet confidence of someone who hasn't slipped yet. For fans, this isn't just about medals, it's about identity. Sha'Carri represents defiance, resilience, the comeback spirit Americans love. Alfred represents precision, progress, and the rise of a new global power in sprinting. One woman is fighting to keep her crown. The other is proving she already took it. And when they crouch in the blocks, shoulder to shoulder, none of the talk will matter. Not the headlines, not the injuries, not the speculation. Only the gun, only the stopwatch, only history. For Sha'Carri, the stakes couldn't be clearer. She's the defending world champion. She has the medals, the global fan base, the fire. But she also carries baggage. The injury that slowed her season, the arrest that turned her into tabloid fodder, the constant questions about whether she can stay focused long enough to dominate. If she wins in Tokyo, all of that fades. The noise gets quiet. The narrative flips from troubled star to resilient queen. The redemption story writes itself. The woman who stumbled, who was doubted, who looked finished, only to come roaring back when it mattered most. But if she loses, if she gets blown off the track by Alfred again, then the whispers grow louder. Maybe she's inconsistent. Maybe she's distracted. Maybe the chaos finally caught up. And in a sport that moves fast and forgets faster, those whispers can end a career's prime before the athlete even realizes it. For Julien Alfred, the opportunity is just as monumental, but it feels different. She doesn't have to save her reputation. She doesn't need redemption. What she needs is confirmation. Paris was proof she could shock the world. Tokyo would prove she can control it. 2 global titles back-to-back, Olympic gold and a world championship crown, would leave no doubt. Julien Alfred isn't just the girl who beat Sha'Carri once. She would be the face of sprinting, the standard, the name every other sprinter is chasing. And don't underestimate the weight of that. St. Lucia had never won an Olympic medal until Alfred. She's already changed her nation's history. Now she has a chance to change the sport's history by toppling one of the loudest, boldest, most recognizable figures track and field has ever produced. That's what makes Tokyo so compelling. It's not just a race, it's a narrative collision. Sha'Carri Richardson, the firebrand who thrives on chaos, who makes every race a spectacle, who forces you to watch whether you love her or hate her. Julien Alfred, the quiet assassin, the technician, the unshakable talent who doesn't need to talk, because her legs speak louder than words. Only one of them can walk away with the crown, and beyond Tokyo, the road only gets steeper. Los Angeles 2028 looms on the horizon, the first Olympics on US soil in more than 30 years. For Sha'Carri, it's a chance to become the star of the games, but only if she survives this era of Alfred. For Julien, it's the stage to cement her dynasty, to prove that Paris wasn't a moment, but the beginning of a reign. For fans, it's the rivalry we didn't know we needed. Every generation has one. Florence Griffith Joyner versus Evelyn Ashford, Veronica Campbell-Brown versus Allyson Felix, and now, Sha'Carri Richardson versus Julien Alfred. The only question left is simple. Who will rise when the lights are brightest? Who will handle the weight of history? And when the gun goes off in Tokyo, who will take the throne as the fastest woman alive? We're about to find out